Hi everybody and welcome to the channel. I hope you're all well and dandy out there in YouTube land, Beatles world, fellow YouTubers, members of the VC and anybody else that's interested in an old geezer talking about some records. So we're going to carry on with the DeAGASTINI collection and we've got as far as Revolver for this edition. So I'll just show you the little pamphlet that came with it. So when you got these you did get, they're called the magazines but they are more pamphlets. So this was number 14 in their collection, and number 15 you got Anthology 2. So they didn't really stick to the UK releases. So that is the front cover. There's a nice photo there of the boys in Japan in 1966 on the final tour. I won't bother reading you the bits because it just gets a bit boring. And I'm sure most of you, if you've got these pamphlets with it anyway. Some nice photos there, band photos. So that's it. So let's have a look at the record then, shall we? Let's just put that down there for now. So this is the record that came in the DeAgostini collection that I brought a few months ago. This one was already unsealed, so I haven't, this one had been played. So, they're all stereo. They're all from a digital source. I will say that before anybody says anything. Really, really nice record, actually. I must have played this half a dozen or a dozen times since I've actually had it. So yeah, that is the labels on the yellow and black parlophone. It's 180 gram. Now the main difference between these and the original ones are you don't get the sold in the UK subject to price conditions on the labels, and obviously it says made in the EU where that would have originally said made in Great Britain, and then the copyright for the songs is Sony ATV Music where it would have been Northern Songs. So yeah, so like I said, I've played this half a dozen to a dozen times. Now to me, as I've said on all of these D'Agostini videos so far, on my setup, this sounds absolutely amazing. And again, I could hear things on here that I don't usually hear on other Revolvers, which we will go into in a minute. Now, when this album came out in 1966, the Beatles was also on a world tour, and they didn't play any song off this album at all live. The only thing they played from 1966 was Paperback Writer, as far as I can remember. So the track list on this, I will say it because if you live in various other parts of the world, you might have had a slightly different track listing. So in the UK, it started off with Taxman, fantastic song by George. Then you got Eleanor Rigby. Then you got I'm Only Sleeping. Then you got Love You Too, another song by George. Then you get Here, There and Everywhere. Then you get Yellow Submarine, and then side one finishes off with She Said, She Said. Side two kicks off with Good Day Sunshine. Then you get And Your Bird Can Sing. Then you get the classic 401. I love that song. Then you get Dr. Robert. Then you get I Want to Tell You. So that's the third song by George on this record. Then you get Got to Get You Into My Life. And then it finishes off with the classic Tomorrow Never Knows. So that is the track listing. I'm sorry it's a bit iffy, but it's still in the shrink wrap. So this, like I said, I've played this. Overall, the sound quality on this is amazing. It's clear. They've brought sort of like a new freshness and warmth to the record as a whole. Now, the one that I did compare it with is a 1960s stereo Revolver. Now, when I bought this about 2.5 years ago from a place called Music in the Green in Bakewell. And I paid £35 for it, still got the sticker on there. And originally I thought it was a UK copy, because it is in a UK sleeve, a Gerald and Lofthouse Limited patents pending sleeve. But it's not a UK copy, it's made in Denmark. Just bear with 1 second. You'll have to excuse me because I've still got a little bit of a cold. Yeah, so this is made in Denmark. It's the same mixes and everything. And you get the NCB, you get YEX 606 stroke 1 for side 1. So for side 2. Yeah. Yeah, YEX 606 stroke 1. But that is not the alternate version of Tomorrow Never Knows. I thought it was. And then for side 1, it's YEX 605 stroke 1. See it in the dead wax just there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Now this is a mighty fine sounding record. I've got to say that straight away. The thing with Revolver is, because when I started getting into the Beatles, I listened to the majority of the LPs in mono, like I still do. So yeah, this is brilliant. You know, really, 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 really nice sounding version of it. And in all fairness, it probably knocks spots off the 70s UK versions. Bear in mind, this is a 1960s pressing. So the songs and everything are the same, but in all honesty, it is a hard one. This is probably one of the hardest ones I've had to do. But you want an honest opinion, don't you? That is from an analog master, remember? And this is from a digital source. And this knocks spots off that one, if that makes sense. But that is still a great album. And it is actually quite rare. I think I did a video with this just after I'd bought it, and I did get some comments off, off a lot of people who have been collecting Beatles records for a lot longer than me, and some of them didn't even know about this one. And apparently they were all in UK sleeves. They used to just press the record and then they got the sleeves from the UK. So that is one to look out for if you're ever on your travels. But like I say, as far as I'm concerned, the DeAGASTINI one does just beat this, but there's not a lot in it. Then there's this one, which I've also played and compared it to. Now this is a 70s stroke early 80s pressing. Yeah, I'm just reading something because the last one of these I did on Rubber Soul, somebody did say all of the Beatles LPs on vinyl after 1987 are digital sources. Right, well this, and they did say it will say so. Well, that doesn't say anything about this being a digital source. So I presume this is still a analog master recording. Again, I have featured this on another video, but this one is quite strange because it's actually on the wrong labels. It's on Columbia instead of Parlophone. So it's still a 2-box EMI, but instead of it saying Parlophone, it says Columbia. And somebody did say these are actually quite rare. Don't know how rare. Somebody did mention between £200 to £500 if I was going to sell it, which I am never ever going to sell it. Put that in there. Put that back in there. And again, that is a fantastic sounding record. I just thought I'd show you a couple of my stereo revolvers. Then there's this one. This says Revolver 2017 reissue EU, rip on the back cover. Now, I can remember buying this, and I bought this from a record fair, and the chap said this was out the stereo box set, and it might have been, but it wasn't out of the 2017 stereo box set. This is actually DeAGASTINI one. £15 I paid for it. And this one, again, the cover's not very good. The cover's ripped, but the actual record is mint. So it does just prove that you can get these cheap in second-hand record shops. But like I say, this one, it's come unstuck there, and it's got a rip just there. But for £15, I mean, if you haven't got a stereo copy of this, it's a cheap way to get one, isn't it? That's all I'm saying on these. I'm not saying anything else. I'm not, like I've said before, it all depends what equipment you've got, how your music room set up, how your hi-fi set up, the speakers and everything you go in through. I mean, mine goes through, on these, I've been using my Denon, which is that one there. Denon direct drive record deck going through Denon amp and Denon speakers. And every one of these I've done the same. Then we've got this one, which is a strange one actually, this, because it looks like it is a UK one, but then there's a little sticker on there and it says DOBI Spania. So I presume this is Spanish. I presume it's Spanish. But the actual record says it's made in the UK. So like there, although it's two boxed, it still says the gramophone co there, and then there it says made in the UK. Where later copies of the two box EMI Parlophone will say EMI Records there, and then made in the UK there. Again, fantastic sounding record. Then I've also got American versions of it, but they are mono. I've got loads of mono copies of it. And of course, that's a selector disc. Let's see there. Just say selector disc. Selector disc Nottingham, that says. Under there. Do you remember selector disc in Nottingham? So I don't know what that sticker there means. It's obvious it's a early to mid 70s UK pressing. Not necessarily a reissue, just a repressing. And then obviously I've got the recent Revolver box set, which is behind me over there. And of course you get a lovely stereo remixed version of the album by Giles Martin. So once again, I think these DeAGASTINI versions of these albums are fantastic. Like I say, I've got no problem with these whatsoever. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't really care what the source is, because they sound good on my hi-fi setup. And as long as they sound good and I can play them and I enjoy playing them, that is all that matters to me as a collector. It's like a lot of people will go out and buy all these reissues and they don't actually realise that half the reissues that they're buying are from a digital source or a digital file. Not every reissue is from the analog master. So if you ever see any of these and you're not paying a fortune for them, I mean, if you want the whole collection, then fair enough, it is going to cost you quite a bit of money, especially if you want all the bits and bobs which went with them, like slip mats and bags and coffee cups, and I think you get a holder and things like that. To get a whole collection is quite expensive. And I've only just found out this was actually released in Japan as well, so you can get a Japanese version of this. But then again, the ones I've seen of those are very, very expensive. So all in all, I think these are fantastic value for money. And I'm not being paid to say that. Like I've said, I am not endorsed by DeAGASTINI. I'm not endorsed by the Beatles camp or Universal Music or Apple or anything. I bought these with my own money. I did get them for bargain price, don't get me wrong. And they were classed as, what was the advert? It said new stroke other, because virtually every one of these was unsealed apart from about 4 of the albums, this being one of them. And I did get it in the 2 boxes as well. So like I say, if you're just getting into the Beatles, say, and you can't afford to go to your local record shop like your HMVs and your Walmarts and your Targets and things like that, and spend 30 or 40 pound on a reissue, check out some of these DeAgostini ones. As I've said before, unfortunately, because of copyright laws with YouTube, I cannot actually play you any of these. Well, I could play it a few seconds, and it would be a few seconds. And depending on where I stood with my phone or my camera, you're not going to get the same sound effect as what you would if you were sat in the room with me, basically. So yeah, I've got no worries about any of these so far. Every one of these I've played has sounded fantastic. Yes, you can hear differences from the originals. You know, that's not what I'm saying. And to me, I'm not saying these are a hell of a lot better than them. They just sound slightly different. And at the minute, I am hearing things on these that I probably wouldn't hear in a mid 1970s version, if that makes sense. So yeah, all in all, I'm very, very happy with these. I'm still quite surprised that I got these for such a good price, because there is 23 albums in this collection. So you get all the studio albums from Please Please Me up to Let It Be. Then you get Past Masters Volumes 1 and 2. Then you get the Red and the Blue albums. You get the Love album. You get Anthologies 1, 2 and 3. What else do you get? There's loads you get. The only thing you don't basically get in this is the Yellow Submarine Songtrack and the Let It Be Naked album, and a collection of Beatles oldies but goldies. You know, if you wanted an instant Beatles collection, this is for you. And you can get all of those for less than it would probably cost you to get the stereo box set, which, you know, was the Apple version. And these have been slightly recut, I think. So yeah, if you ever see any of these and you're not paying an arm and leg for them, roughly around the 10 to 20 pound mark for a single album. The doubles and the triples are a bit more. And I've noticed that there's somebody on eBay selling the DeAgostini anthologies, and they want, believe it or not, £150 for all 3 of them. So that works out £50 each, which, if you think about it, there are 3 albums in each one, isn't they? So is that a good deal? I don't know. I mean, there is sellers on there that will be selling them for £75 each. That's for each volume and things like that. So yeah, if you ever see them, just go out and buy them. That's what I would recommend to you. If I thought there was crap or something like that, I would definitely tell you. But to me now, I am really, really enjoying going through this box set. Whether I'm going to do all of the other ones, I don't know. I think I might just do it and finish off with Let It Be. But let me know down in the comments. Do you want me to do all of the compilation albums that you also get with this, i.e. the anthologies and stuff like that? I don't know. We'll see. So if you've liked the video, by the way, just give me a thumbs up. If you want to hype the video, by the way, you can do that, but you have to watch it on a mobile phone. You can't do it on a tablet or a laptop or a computer, which is a bit strange. And that is actually helping. Just bear with 1 second, folks. Hi folks, sorry about that. There's always somebody rings you when you're doing a video, isn't there? Yeah. So finishing off this video, if you've liked the video, please leave me a thumbs up. If you want to hit the hype button, please do. If you want to leave any comments whatsoever, please feel free, because I do like to read all of your comments and I do try to answer as many as I can. And that's going to be it. So what do you think of the DeAGASTINI collection? Do you think it's worth the money? Do you think, have you got any of them? What do you think they sound like? You see, I think they sound okay. They sound as good as anything you go and buy in the shops nowadays, put like that. So whatever you're doing, please stay safe. Remember, Beetle Dave loves you. You are the Beetle Dave, and whatever you're doing, remember, Beetle Dave loves each and every one of you. You, and you. See you later, my ducks. Bye bye.